The Galactic Empire's fleet entered the Sol system with confidence. Admiral Vikra stood tall on the bridge of his flagship, the Vengeance of Dawn, watching the blue planet in the distance. He had crushed many worlds before, but Earth was different. Not dangerous, just strange. Primitive world, Vikra said, arms behind his back. Reports say they still burn fossil fuel. This won't take more than a day. His second-in-command, Commander Drell, nodded. Scouts say only a small fleet guards. Their system. One battle group, no dreadnoughts, Vikra smiled. Then this will be a clean victory. The Empire had sent 10 capital ships, 30 cruisers, and over 100 support vessels. Against such power, Earth stood no chance. They passed the orbit of Mars. The human fleet appeared on sensors, stationed near Jupiter. Small, weak ships compared to Zorth technology. Still, Vikra kept his orders clear. Send them a warning. Let them surrender. A message was sent to the humans. No reply came. Strange, Drell muttered. They received it but remained silent. Before Vikra could respond, something unexpected happened. Every scanner aboard every Empire ship went dark. For exactly 30 seconds, no sensors worked, no radar. No signals, nothing. Vikra's voice echoed through the silence. What just happened? Then, all screens came back to life. But now, something new appeared behind them. A ship, huge, silent. Right behind the last Zorth destroyer. It had not been there before. Vikra's eyes widened. Where did that come from? Drell checked the readings. It wasn't cloaked. It wasn't in hyperspace. It just appeared. The human ship didn't fire. It didn't move. It just hovered like a predator. Vikra zoomed in on the image. The ship's hull was dark gray, built like a mountain. Its design was nothing like the other human ships. This one looked ancient, yet untouched. No damage, no markings, just ... Silence. Suddenly, a voice broke into every Zorth ship. A human voice, calm and cold. Turn back, or vanish. Vikra laughed. Is this some joke? One ship? They dare threaten us? Drell didn't laugh. A moment later, the rear Zorth destroyer Talon Fang vanished. There was no sound. No explosion. No debris. It just disappeared from space. Alarms rang. Officers screamed. Vikra barked commands. Find out what happened. Scan everything. Target that ship. Weapons locked onto the silent dreadnought. But the human ship didn't react. DRL whispered. Sir. It's like it's not even here. Our systems don't recognize it as real. Fire anyway. Vikra shouted. The first volley of plasma torpedoes shot out. The weapons lit space with burning light. But just before impact, the human ship bent slightly. Like light bending around heat. And the weapons missed. All of them. Vikra froze. That's impossible. The human dreadnought finally moved. Not fast. Not violent. Just a slow glide forward. But every Zorth ship moved back. The dreadnought sent no more messages. It didn't need to. Vikra turned to his staff. What ship is that? What class? What registry? No one answered. Finally, a junior tech spoke. There is no record of that ship, sir. It's not listed in any known Earth database. Vikra's fingers curled. He looked again at the simple, terrifying ship. He had seen machines of war across galaxies. He had crushed resistance from dozens of races. But this ship ... It was wrong. It did not act like a warship. It acted like a ghost. Get me Earth Command. Vikra said. No reply. Drell frowned. They're jamming us. But not with normal tech. It feels ... ancient. Suddenly, another signal came through. Not a voice, a number. Sector 3. That's all it said. Vikra repeated it. Sector 3? Drell's face turned pale. Sir ... We're in Sector 2. That means there's another sector ... and that ship is not even part of Earth's main force. Silence filled the bridge. Vikra's confidence cracked. You mean? This isn't. Their full army? No one answered. Everyone was staring at the human ship. It hovered quietly, like a warning. A shadow before the storm. And deep inside, every Zorth officer began to wonder what else was Earth hiding. The massive human dreadnought didn't move fast. It didn't fire. It simply hovered in silence, casting a deep shadow across the fleet. Of the Galactic Empire. Admiral Vekra stood frozen. Around him, the bridge of the Vengeance of Dawn buzzed with quiet fear. No one dared raise their voice. "It's not attacking," Commander Drell said, breaking the silence. "No," Vekra replied, his voice low, "but it's still a threat. A greater one than we've ever faced." He watched as the dreadnought drifted slowly, almost lazily, toward their nearest cruiser. The Zorth ship, Blade Singer, powered up its weapons and shields, ready to defend itself, and then the human ship stopped, a single beam of soft white light. Shot down from the dreadnought onto the Zorth cruiser, nothing exploded. There was no sound, but everyone saw it. The Zorth ship powered down. Every system, every weapon, lights faded. Engines stopped. The Blade Singer floated dead in space. "They disabled it," Drell whispered, "without firing a shot." Vekra clenched his fists. "They're showing off." Another message came through. A human voice again. Male, steady, not loud. "This is your last warning. Do not test Earth's patience." This time, there was no laughter from the crew, no arrogance. Just fear. Drell stared at the screen. "We still don't know what kind of ship that is. It's not in any human records. Because we were never meant to see it," Vekra said. "It was hidden. A secret. And now they've let it out." Another officer shouted, "Sir!" 3 more signals appearing behind the gas giant. Everyone turned. 3 more massive ships appeared near Saturn's rings. They were shaped differently, but shared the same silent presence. No registration, no record, no energy spikes. They just ... Arrived. 4 ships, Drell said. "That's not a war fleet. That's a message." "What kind of message?" Vekra asked. Before anyone could answer, a small transport ship emerged from Earth and headed toward the dreadnought. It was tiny compared to the dreadnought, like a fly approaching a mountain. But instead of docking, it floated beside it. A transmission came from the transport. Video only. A human woman in a dark gray uniform appeared. No rank, no name tag. She looked into the camera calmly. "You were warned. You did not listen. Now we respond." She didn't shout. Her tone was quiet but firm. Vekra stepped closer to the screen. "Who is she? What authority does she have?" the woman continued. "The ship you saw is not part of Earth's official navy. It belongs to Sector 3, and Sector 3 does not play politics." Drell leaned toward Vekra. "What is Sector 3? "I don't know," the Admiral replied. "But we are about to find out." The woman's message ended. The dreadnought began to move again, but this time it was moving away. It didn't flee. It didn't rush. It simply turned and headed back toward Earth. The other 3 ships near Saturn followed, and just like that ... they were gone. No hyperspace flash. No warp signal. They simply disappeared. Vekra turned to his staff. "What just happened?" No one answered. He paced the bridge. Was it a threat? Or was it a test? Drell finally spoke. "I think it was a leash, a warning not to pull too hard." Silence filled the bridge. Another officer reported, "Sir, long-range scans are picking up unusual tech signatures across Earth's moon and under their oceans." "New bases?" "Old ones," the officer replied. "Buried, hidden for decades, maybe centuries. We never saw them because they didn't want us to." Vekra looked again at the now empty space where the dreadnought once hovered. He had believed Earth was weak. He now questioned everything. Drell approached. "We still have numbers, Admiral. We still have power. Do we press forward?" Vekra didn't answer. Instead, he walked to the main screen and stared at Earth. Then he said quietly, "I want to speak to our informant." The one who lived on Earth, the spy. The crew scrambled. Minutes later, a hologram appeared, a thin alien with pale blue skin and shaking hands stood in front of Vecra. "You lied to us," Vecra growled. The spy trembled. I told you what I saw. They let me see old machines, rusty tanks. Slow ships, that's all I knew." "You think they let you see weakness on purpose?" The spy nodded slowly. "Yes, I understand. Now I was a tool. They used me." Vecra stepped closer. "Then what is Sector 3? The spy looked terrified. "A myth. A ghost story among humans. No one speaks of it. Not in public, not even in whispers. So it's real?" The spy nodded again. "Real, and older than any of us thought." Drell turned to Vecra. "We need to report this to High Command. Earth may not be what we believed." Vecra's voice was hard. "No, not yet." "Why not?" "Because if we report this now, they will send more ships, more fleets, and I don't think we're ready." He looked out the window. The stars glittered peacefully. But somewhere out there, Earth was watching and waiting. Vkara spoke one last line before the lights dimmed on the bridge. "We thought we saw the full army, but what if that was just their gatekeeper?" The Zorth Empire's fleet held position beyond the orbit of Mars. No one moved. No one spoke. They had come to crush Earth, but now fear had crept into their bones. Admiral Vikra stared at the fading trail of the strange dreadnought that had appeared and then vanished without a trace. Not destroyed. Not cloaked. Just gone. "I want a full scan of the solar system," Vikra ordered. "Deep scan. I want to know every rock, every signal, every shadow." Drell nodded and gave the order. Soon, ships deployed sensor drones and probes across the system. The first reports came back. "Sir," said a young officer, "there are unnatural energy readings from beneath Earth's oceans. Also from the far side of the moon." "Show me." On the main screen, several red dots glowed under Earth's surface. More glowed from deep under the moon's crust. "Those are not civilian power grids," Drell said. Vecra narrowed his eyes. "They've been hiding their true military under our noses." Another officer spoke, voice shaking. "Sir, we just got another reading. From outside the solar system." Everyone turned. "What kind of reading?" "A fleet, sir. Multiple ships. Not using hyperspace. They're bending space itself." "How many?" "Unknown. But it's bigger than our entire Fifth Armada." Vecra's lips went dry. "From where? Earth colonies?" The officer shook his head. "They're not transmitting any ID codes. But the signal came from a relay hidden near Alpha Centauri, and it says only 2 words." "What words?" The officer swallowed. "Phase 2. Silence fell across the bridge. Drell whispered, "They have phases?" This wasn't even the full response. A moment later, Earth's atmosphere lit up. Dozens of small ships launched from the planet. They weren't large, but their design was sleek, like birds made of metal and light. They didn't head toward the Empire fleet. Instead, they flew in. Formation around Earth. A shield? No, a pattern. One that began forming in space. A massive glowing symbol appeared, like an ancient rune written with light. The human ships formed it perfectly. "What is this?" Vecra asked. No one knew. Until suddenly, every Zorth ship's core engine lost power for 3 seconds. Just 3 seconds. But that was enough. The humans could shut them down. Vecra slammed his fist on the command rail. "How is this possible?" "There. Using quantum resonance," a science officer said. "It's not technology. It's like magic." The admiral turned slowly. "We do not use that word." The officer nodded quickly. "Sorry, sir, but I don't have a better one." On the screen, the symbol faded. The small ships returned to Earth like swans landing on a lake. A message came through. Not from a ship. From Earth itself, it was text only. This was a demonstration. Phase 2 has begun. Stand by for terms. Vecra turned to Drell. We're not here to negotiate. We're here to conquer. Drell didn't reply. He was staring at the new signals. More ships, hundreds, pouring into the system. From unknown coordinates. Not all were human. Some had designs the Empire had never seen. Long needle-shaped cruisers. Thick cube-like command ships. Organic-looking vessels that pulsed with energy. Double quotes. These ... These aren't Earth ships, said Drell. They're from other races, the officer confirmed. Yes, sir. Other species. Unknown to our records. Vecra realized the truth. Earth hadn't stood alone. The humans had formed an alliance. A Death World alliance. All the violent wild worlds the Empire had ignored or failed to conquer. They had come together, and Earth was their center. Human voice echoed through the fleet once again. We warned you. You believed Earth was weak. You believed we were alone. You were wrong. Vecra shouted. Open fire. Hit the closest alien ship. Weapons powered up. Torpedoes launched. But before they reached the target, space twisted. A field of gravity bent the torpedoes and tossed them into empty space. Sir, we're being jammed again. I can't get a target lock. One of the Death World ships, a jagged black one with glowing red lines, opened fire. Its weapon didn't shoot light or plasma. It launched a ripple, a shockwave that didn't explode. Instead, it passed through the Zorth cruiser. The cruiser turned dark. Not damaged, not destroyed, just ... dead. EMP? Vecra asked. No, sir, something new. It shut down the matter inside. Even the atoms, we don't understand it. Vecra's voice lowered. Then we must learn, fast. But learning takes time, and time was running out. Suddenly, a shadow appeared behind the Empire fleet. Another dreadnought, but this one was different, larger. Its front hull had a mark, the same symbol the human ships had drawn in space. A direct message from Earth. The new dreadnought sent a short voice clip. You saw the gatekeeper, now you see the judge. Vecra felt cold. Pull the fleet back now. The ships began to turn, but it was too late. A wave of anti-energy spread from the judge ship. It didn't damage them. It removed them. 3 Empire cruisers were erased from existence. No heat, no debris, just gone. The rest fled. The mighty Zorth fleet retreated beyond Mars, wounded and afraid. On board the Vengeance of Dawn, Vecra leaned on the console, breathing hard. They weren't defending Earth, he said. Drell looked up. Then what were they doing? Vecra whispered. They were warning us that Earth is no longer a planet. It's a power. And somewhere far behind them, Earth's true army was just waking up. The Zorth Empire's fleet floated in silence beyond Mars. Not one ship dared approach Earth again. Inside the command room of the Vengeance of Dawn, Admiral Vecra stood before a large screen, his face pale. His hands rested on the metal table. His thoughts were storming. What did we miss? He muttered. DRL stood beside him. Everything. We never saw their real strength, Vecra turned. Bring in the spy, now. Moments later, a thin blue-skinned alien entered the room. His hands were bound. His name was Lurvak, the Empire's informant on Earth. He had lived among humans for over 10 years. Pretending to be one of them, Vecra stared at him. You told us they were weak, that they had no fleet worth fearing, that their tech was outdated. Lurvak nodded slowly. They made me believe that. I lived in their cities. Their skies were quiet. Their military showed only what they wanted me to see. Outdated tanks, slow ships. Drell stepped forward. So they let you spy? They fed you lies? Yes, Lurvak whispered. All carefully planned. Vecra's voice was ice. Why didn't you dig deeper? Lurvak looked up. His eyes were filled with fear. Because every time I asked too much, something happened. People I talked to vanished. My messages to you were delayed. One time I tried to visit an airbase. I woke up a week later in another country, with no memory of what happened. Drell leaned closer. You were controlled. I was a puppet, Lurvuk said. Vakra turned back to the screen. It showed a live view of Earth. Tell me about Sector 3. Lurvuk froze. You mentioned it once, in a report. You said it was a myth. Is it real? Lurvuk nodded slowly. Yes, but not just real. It's the core of everything. Vakra stared at him. Explain. Sector 3 doesn't operate under Earth's government, not even under the military. It's older. Older than Earth's global alliance. Maybe older than their first space launch, Drell asked. Who controls it? Lurvuk shook his head. No one knows. Some think it's run by AI. Others believe it's a secret bloodline of commanders. I don't know what's true. I only know this. Sector 3 trains in silence, builds in silence, and only acts when Earth itself is threatened. Vakra stepped closer. Then what we saw, the Dreadnought, the Judge ship, they belong to Sector 3? Yes, and there are more, Lurvuk whispered. I once overheard a conversation at a human spaceport. A technician said, if the Judge wakes, then the Warden isn't far behind. I asked who the Warden was. They laughed and told me to forget I ever heard that name. Vekra's voice was low. What else have they hidden? Bases on other moons. Deep sea factories. Interstellar weapons that bend time. I don't know how much is real, but now, after what I've seen, I believe everything. Drell stared at Vakra. This was never a primitive race. This was a trap. Suddenly, a new signal appeared on the screen. Earth was sending a file. A video. VKRA opened it. It showed footage from 200 years ago. Old Earth. A small ship flying into deep space. It was torn apart by alien fire. Then more images. Earth cities burning. Alien warships in the sky. The First Contact War, Lurvuk said. Earth was nearly destroyed. The video continued. Humans in bunkers. Children starving. Cities abandoned. Then came hope. Engineers rebuilding underground. Soldiers training in silence. Scientists unlocking new energy sources. Hidden facilities on Mars. And finally, one last message appeared on screen. To all future enemies, we remember. We forgive nothing. We prepare in silence. Vakra read the words aloud. The bridge fell into silence. Drell whispered. They were broken, but they didn't die. They hid, and now they return. Another officer entered the room. Sir, new contact. Not from Earth, from the edge of the system. What is it now? A ship. Unknown class. Larger than any we've seen. Human? Unknown, but it's transmitting in human code. The message played. This is the Arcos Accord. We speak for the lost worlds. Earth is our anchor. You threaten them. You threaten us. A second officer added, Sir, more ships appearing. From deep space. Coming through gravitational folds. One by one, ships arrived. Some were made of crystal. Others moved like beasts. All bore the same symbol, Earth's mark. Drell whispered. The Deathworld Alliance. It's real. Vekra's mind raced. We came to fight a planet, but we woke an empire. Lurvuk spoke once more. It's worse than that. Earth has become a myth to other broken civilizations. A symbol, a protector. Vakra gritted. His teeth. Then we cannot win. He looked into the stars. Not unless we understand their strength. Not unless we learn their secrets, he turned to Drell. Send word to the High Council. Tell them the war has changed. Earth is not what we thought, and Sector 3 is just the beginning. As the Deathworld ships closed in, glowing like stars with hidden fire, one thought echoed in every heart aboard the Vengeance of Dawn. This is not Earth's last stand. It's just their first step forward. Aboard the Vengeance of Dawn, the tension had become a living thing. Admiral Vecra stood still, but his mind was racing. He had seen many strange things in his lifetime, but nothing like this. Earth had moved. With silence and precision. Not like a frightened world, but like a patient predator. Commander Drell approached with a grim look. "Admiral, the spy is ready to speak again." This time, he asked to show us something. Show us? A recording. From his time on Earth. Something he said he was never supposed to see. They entered the strategy room. A large screen flickered to life. The spy's shaking hands uploaded the file. The video began in a jungle. Human soldiers in ragged uniforms moved silently through thick trees. A small team, only 6 of them. But each carried gear that shimmered strangely. "That is not standard." "Human tech," Drell muttered. The spy nodded. "It was not made for the public." "This was Sector 3. I followed them once secretly, and survived only because they let me." In the video, the human team approached a massive alien war machine, towering, 4 legs. Plasma turrets. The humans didn't speak. One placed a glowing cube on a tree trunk. Another tapped it twice. The war machine shut down instantly, just like that. Then one soldier looked directly at the hidden camera. "He knew I was there," the spy whispered. "He smiled at me. That's how I knew I was being allowed to live." The recording ended. The room was quiet. Vecra turned slowly. "What were they doing out there?" "Cleaning up old threats," the spy said. "Long before the Galactic Empire noticed. Sector 3 doesn't wait for orders. They act." A new alert flashed. A ship approached. Not from Earth. From deep space. Unmarked. Large. And made of something. Strange. It didn't reflect light like metal. It bent light. "Sir," the officer said, voice thin. "That's not a design we recognize. Human?" "No, but allied. Their signal says only, for Earth." The ship stopped 300 kilometers away. It didn't arm weapons. A message followed, not text. Memory. Suddenly, everyone on the Vengeance of Dawn experienced the same vision. They stood on a battlefield, corpses everywhere, humans and aliens. A giant, winged creature screamed from the sky. Below, a single human walked through fire, holding the head of the creature. He didn't speak. He just pointed, and they all felt it. A command. Leave. When the crew returned to reality. Many collapsed. Some wept. Drell's face was pale. That wasn't a message. That was a warning, an emotional imprint. "And humans can send that?" Vecra asked. "No," said the spy. "But their allies can." Vecra turned back to the screen. "The Deathworld Alliance is real, and we are inside their kill zone." He ordered a regrouping of the fleet. But another officer shouted, "Sir, ships appearing behind us." They turned the view. Human ships. Not large, fast, sleek, hundreds of them. Like a swarm, one message came through. "Earth's patience is measured in silence. Your time has run out." Drell's hand shook. "They're flanking us. They let us come this far." The spy whispered, so they could test your reactions. "See how you act when afraid." Vecra looked to his crew. They were brave soldiers. But now, fear was in their eyes. The kind of fear you don't recover from. He opened a private channel to the Empire. He spoke only one sentence. "Earth is not what we believed." The reply came minutes later. "Hold your position. Reinforcements are coming." But Vecra knew what that meant. More ships. More death. He turned back to the screen. A final visual appeared. A child. A human child. She stood in front of a burned village, holding a stick. She drew the symbol of Earth's new alliance in the ashes. Then she looked at the camera and smiled. "My mother died yesterday," she said. "But she told me Earth will never kneel." That video came from Sector 3's archive, and it was sent to every Zorth ship, all at once. Vecra said nothing. He just watched the stars. Somewhere out there, Earth's full army waited. And he finally believed. They were not afraid of anyone, not even the galaxy itself. The night cycle aboard the Vengeance of Dawn brought no rest. Lights were dimmed, but no one slept. Not after what they had seen. Admiral Vecra stood in the command chamber, staring at dozens of holoscreens displaying simulations, tactical data, and encrypted human signals. Each one was more confusing than the last. Commander Drell entered, his face grim. "Sir, we just received an emergency communique. High Command is sending backup. The 2nd and 3rd Imperial fleets are en route." "They didn't listen," Vecra said. Flatly, "They think this is still a winnable war." Drell hesitated. "What if they're right? With enough ships?" "No," Vecra interrupted. "We've seen things we can't explain. Weapons that don't exist in our science. Ships that move without fuel. Enemies that never fire, yet always win." Just then, the ship's eye chimed. New contact entering the system, multiple vessels. Vecra turned to the nearest screen. A new fleet had arrived, but not human. Alien vessels, painted black with glowing symbols, warped into orbit near Jupiter. Long, flat, wide. Their engines pulsed like living hearts. "Who are they?" Drell asked. "The ship," I responded. "Species designation, Lirari. Former Deathworld inhabitants. Declared extinct 300 years ago." "Extinct?" Vecra narrowed his eyes. Another voice came through. Calm, alien, male. "To the Empire. We are the Lirari. Earth gave us life when you gave us death. We return that gift now. Stand down. Or be unmade." The message ended. Everyone on the bridge stared. At Vecra, the Admiral said nothing. Drell muttered, "Earth brings the dead back to the stars." Vecra clenched his fists. "They're not building an army. They're building a legend." An alarm went off. Another alert. Unknown object exiting from beneath Mars. They turned to the screen. A ship. No, a fortress. It rose from the red sands of Mars like a buried titan. Tall towers. Massive gunports. A floating city wrapped in an energy field so dense the sensors couldn't pierce it. The eye stammered. No data available. Origin. Unknown. Power source. Unknown. Size. Comparable to a small moon. That was under Mars this whole time? Drell gasped. The fortress sent no message. It just rose and aimed its weapons. Dozens of other small vessels began to detach from its hull. Fighter craft, drones, cargo ships. None of them bore Earth's flag, but all followed its silent command. Vecra stepped forward. "Send a message to High Command. Tell them to halt their fleets, now." But the communications officer turned. "SIR, we're being blocked." "By something near Neptune." "Another ship?" "No, sir, a satellite. But it's not like anything we've seen. It's humming." The bridge quieted. They all heard it. A hum. Not mechanical, not digital, something old. Something that made their chests feel heavy. The hum stopped. And then a voice filled the ship. "You were warned, you were shown. But now you choose destruction, so we show you loss." The nearest Zorth. Destroyer, blazing sword, exploded. No weapon hit it. No signal preceded it. It just ceased to exist. Screams echoed across the bridge. Drell grabbed the railing. "This is a nightmare." Vecra didn't speak. He was watching the battlefield through his own eyes now. More ships appeared. Silent, beautiful, covered in golden armor or bioorganic skin. Not from Earth, but all with Earth's symbol marked somewhere. From behind Saturn came a new surprise. The Empire's own fleet, the Fifth Armada. They had been sent to scout further in. They were returning, but not alone. Their ships was broadcasting human language. "This is Fleet Captain Run of the Zorth Fifth Armada. We have seen the truth. We are not returning to conquer. We are returning to warn." The message cut out. The Fifth Armada powered down weapons. They lowered shields. They aligned beside Earth's ships. Gasps filled the bridge. Drell looked at Vecra. "They've joined the humans." "No," Vecra said. "They've joined the future." He walked slowly to the center of the bridge. "Prepare the fleet for full retreat. Get us to a safe jump point." An officer hesitated. "But Sir, High Command," I said. "Retreat." And just before the command was issued, another signal came. It was a visual. A boy. A human boy, maybe 10 years old, sitting in a field of alien flowers. He looked into the camera and said one sentence. "My father said Earth doesn't want war, but we remember how to win it." The screen went black. VKR gave the order. "We leave now, and we never come back." As the fleet prepared to jump, Vecra whispered to himself, "That wasn't their army. That wasn't their full force. That was just their voice." And for the first time in centuries, the Empire ran. In the dark silence of deep space, the Galactic Empire's ships floated like anxious giants. The stars offered no answers. Only Earth's growing shadow did. Admiral Vecra had called for silence aboard the Vengeance of Dawn. No new orders. No hails. Just observation. Then a small blinking light appeared on the main display. An incoming signal. One word. "Begin." Vecra's breath caught in his throat. "Begin what?" Commander Drell leaned in. "It's from Earth's system." The signal repeats every 5 seconds. Same word. Suddenly, movement. All over the solar system. Ships began to rise from strange places, inside asteroids, beneath gas giant storms, and hidden behind planetary rings. Thousands. Not warships, civilian crafts, cargo haulers, colony vessels. But they all bore one symbol, the Earth Alliance crest. Then another surprise. Human warships reappeared, massive ones, even larger than the dreadnought seen before. They had names carved in old Earth languages. JUDICATO, R of ice. Hammer of silence. The forgotten voice. Each ship activated a strange field. Gravity pulsed across the void. Drell gasped. "Sir, the Empire fleet's weapons are not locking. They're floating off target. One ship's torpedoes launched by mistake. But instead of striking, the projectiles froze mid-space, then reversed course. The torpedoes fell back toward the Empire ship that fired them. An explosion bloomed like a dying star. "Sir," cried the comms officer, "it's their gravitational tech. They're rewriting local space." Vecra's eyes stayed locked on the screen. "They've made the battlefield theirs." But Earth wasn't finished. The moon cracked. No explosion. No chaos. Just a slow parting of the surface like a curtain. And from inside, something rose. Not a ship. A machine. Massive. Humanoid in shape. Standing tall on mechanical legs. Covered in plates older than any known metal. Glowing eyes. The crew watched in horror as it stepped out of the moon's body. "That's a Titan," whispered an engineer. "A planetary defense walker. But there's no record," Vecra spoke. "Because Earth didn't want it recorded." The machine turned its head. Its gaze alone made sensors fail. Power flickered. Systems blinked. Then the voice returned. A calm female one. "You have entered a restricted zone. This solar system is under the protection of the Terran Accord." Vecra blinked. "What is the Terran Accord?" The spy, still nearby, answered. "A promise, made after Earth's first war among the stars. If ever threatened again, they would rise not as nations, but as one species." Drell whispered, "So that's what we're seeing now." "All of it. The Accord, activated." "Correct," said the AI. "Enemy fleet status, paralyzed." Indeed, most of the Empire's ships were locked in place. Not by force, by fear. Officers refused to fire. Crews refused to act. And then came the most surprising move of all. A single human shuttle launched from Earth. Tiny. Unarmed. It passed through the fleet. Untouched. And it docked without permission onto the Vengeance of Dawn. Alarms screamed. Vakra drew his sidearm. Seal the hangar, get me a squad. But it was too late. The shuttle's door opened, and one person stepped out. A young human, no armor, no weapons, just a black coat. He looked barely 30. "I'm here to talk," he said. Vakra met him in the hangar. "You've invaded a flagship. Explain yourself." The man bowed slightly. "I'm Ambassador Kale. Earth sent me to offer peace." Drell snarled. "Peace? After all this?" Kale looked up. "We didn't ask you to come. You entered our skies with warships. You made us choose between silence and warning." Vakra lowered his weapon slightly. "Why not destroy us?" "You clearly can." Kale walked past him calm. "Because that's not how humans win. We scare you, yes, but not to break you. To teach you." He stopped at the viewport. Earth shone below, beautiful and calm. "We've buried our monsters, but we remember where they sleep. We only wake them when needed." Vakra asked, "Is this your full army?" Kale smiled. "No, Admiral. This isn't even Earth's army. These are the reserves." Vakra's heart sank. Kale turned. "You brought fire to our home, and we showed you ice. Leave now, or the fire will return that from you. From us." Back on the bridge, Drell watched as all of Earth's ships stopped moving. They hovered, silent, watching. Waiting. Vakra walked slowly back to his command chair. He looked at the stars beyond Earth. And he knew. "We came to test them," he said softly. "But they tested us." He gave one final order. "Prepare the fleet. We're leaving." Because deep inside, he finally understood the truth. This wasn't Earth's full strength. It was just Earth's warning. The Vengeance of Dawn turned slowly in orbit, following Admiral Vikra's final command. The once mighty Zorth fleet began pulling back, their weapons still cold, their formations scattered. No ships pursued them. No fire followed, but Earth's forces watched. In the silence of space. The message was clear. They could strike at any time. They simply chose not to. Inside the bridge, Vakra sat alone in his command chair, Kale, the human ambassador, standing nearby. "You're letting us go," Vakra said, still unable to fully believe it. Kale nodded. "We never wanted this war. We only wanted to be left alone. But we also wanted you to remember something." Vakra turned slowly. "What's that?" Kale stepped forward, calm. "That Earth was never defenseless. You only saw what we let you see." He looked out the main viewport, where Earth gleamed below like a jewel wrapped in shields and shadow. "Our silence was your invitation. Our patience, your test." The words echoed through the bridge as the last of the Earth warships powered down their systems. They drifted back into orbit like sleeping giants. Then Kale raised his hand. The screens across the ship lit up, this time not with warnings, but with faces, thousands of them, human. Children, mothers, soldiers, engineers, farmers, pilots, all looking into the camera. All saying the same phrase in hundreds of languages. "This is our home." Then it ended. Kale said softly, "Tell your empire, Earth doesn't fear war, but we mourn it. And if you force it on us, we will end it, quickly." A new alert flashed across the Zorth fleet. Another incoming fleet, but this time, Earth's full military. From deep space, through hidden wormholes and folded space corridors, they came. Dreadnoughts, mobile starbases, living ships that pulsed like whales of light, command vessels as large as moons, carrying armies bred for deep space combat. The full strength of Earth finally revealed. And at the center an ancient ship, black and gold, older than the Empire itself. Its name glowed in an old human tongue. Unity. Kale whispered, "That is Earth's heart. The first ship that left the planet. Still alive, still fighting." The Unity sent one message across the stars. "The Accord remembers. We do not kneel." Admiral Vakra stood in silence. The fleet he once commanded now looked small, fragile, foolish. Drell stepped beside him, pale. Sir, we are ants beside giants. No, Vecra said quietly. We are witnesses. Kale offered a small device to Vecra. This contains our terms. You may deliver it to your high command. Vecra accepted it without a word. As the human shuttle left the ship, Earth's fleets began to withdraw again. Quietly, proudly. No celebration, no mockery. Just order. Vecra sat once more. He tapped a command. A recording began. This is Admiral Vecra, to High Command. Earth is not to be touched. Not by scouts, not by warships, not even by whispers. He paused, then added, they are not weak. They are not alone. They are not afraid. He ended the message. On the screens, the Earth faded from view, but in every crew member's heart, it burned bright. As the Zorth fleet left the solar system, something unusual happened. A human civilian vessel followed them. Tiny, unarmed. It broadcast only music. Old Earth songs. Soft melodies from a long-lost time, a reminder that Earth did not destroy them. Earth showed mercy. Back in the Terran system, Kale stood on the observation deck of the Unity, watching the stars. A voice beside him spoke. It was female, clear, steady. Do you think they understood? Kale nodded. Yes, but it's not about fear. It's about respect. That's what we earn today. Behind them, massive factories powered up. Earth's fleets returned to their stations. Sector 3 vanished again into the dark. But the galaxy would not forget. From this day forward, the stars would speak of Earth not as a backwater world, but as a power, a home, a force. And in whispers across empires, across war rooms and thrones, a new phrase began to echo. You mean that wasn't even their full army? And no one wanted to find out what the full army looked like.